What is up, guys? We are back. Today's I'm a fucking heart attack or something. Just pains. Today's catching up with Toby's talk. I'm gonna talk about my dog a little bit. So I think I definitely did. In one of the Snacks and Stories videos. Can I get on the inside of that? One of the Snacks and Stories videos long ago, I showed my dog, Romeo. He is a pit bull mix. He's probably mixed with a boxer, I think, just from some of the tendencies he has. Can you get there? I think I can do that. But, so I have my dog. Alright, hold on. Dog talk take 2 here. So I have this dog, Romeo. He's a pit bull boxer mix. And he is pretty much my family. Like, I live at home by myself. My home by myself. Because I'm a badass baller. But, so it's me and him in the house. I bought him a couple months after I moved in. Because I don't want to be by myself all the time. I want the company, companion. So I got Romeo. I adopted him from the local pound here. And, hold on. Okay. So I adopted him from the pound here, and the reason I picked him was whenever I would go to visit the dog shelter, they have the one I go to as a big dog room and a little dog room. Romeo was considered a big dog just because he was a boxer, I guess, or a pit bull. He was about a year old when he was there, and whenever I'd go in there, he wouldn't bark. Like whenever the door opens in the one pound that I go to look at dogs, all the dogs go fucking apeshit when the door opens. Like, loud as hell, they're all excited. I know it fucking sucks to be in there. I always wish I could do more for the dogs. If I had lottery money or some bullshit, I'd probably adopt a bunch because that's a shitty way to live. Just trapped in a fucking metal crate. I know, like SPCAs and stuff, I know they take the dogs out. I know they just don't fucking starve the dog in there until they die, but still no way to live. I mean, dogs are extremely affectionate animals, or most of them are. I know they're just one company, so hanging out in the middle box all day seems like a fucking shit show. It seems horrible. But so when I went in the big dog room, all the dogs were going barking, fucking crazy, doing flips in their crate in the cages like they do. And then there was this little pit bull just sitting on the ground, just staring at me. So I looked at him. His name was Romeo, and I was like, well, he seems super calm and seemed excited to see me. So I was like, okay, I'll take this dog out and like play with him, look at him, stuff like that. So I took him out. Shit. Took him for a walk, and he was a little excited because, I mean, obviously he got out, but he was super affectionate even outside. Like, he'd keep running into me so I'd pet him and like wrestle around with him a little bit and stuff like that. I just kidding there. See how fucking real quick. So I was like, you know what? I think this is the dog for me. Like, he doesn't seem like he's not the mean pit bull. I mean, most pit bulls aren't mean. They are huge products of their upbringing. Even yesterday, I went to look at dogs again. So I'm thinking about getting Romeo a friend so he has someone to play with when he's here by himself. I beat that, did I? No. But, so, even yesterday, there was a 4 or 5-year-old pit bull girl who, according to the lady at the pound, was brought back twice because she growled at some kid, the owner's niece or something. But I understand the fear of the pit bull thing, but what people don't realize is, like, they're called a bully breed of dog. I mean, they're just different. Like, if I wrestle with Romeo, he might growl at me or like grr, but not really. I know he's not pissed off at me. He's not trying to fight with me, because if I tell him to sit, he just sits and gives me paw and we go hang out again. He just gets fired up, and that's the way he plays. So I guess the family didn't like how this dog growled when the niece did something with it, so they gave her up, and apparently she was brought back twice. But this is, I mean, she was like a stocky pit bull too, like a little bit meatier than what Romeo is. But I sat on the floor, and the dog ran over and kind of threw herself in my lap and like licked me and like wanted me to keep petting her, stuff like that. So obviously, even being in a pound, you know, dropped back off twice, probably abandoned the first time. Still the most loving dog ever. She did not give a shit what her life situation was. She came over to play with me, gave me affection immediately, and was just a extremely sweet dog. So obviously, the pit bull thing is bullshit. I mean, if I had my dog and I constantly punched him in the face and like taught him to be an asshole, he'd be an asshole. But these dogs in general just want love. They are extremely caring. I'm sure he would protect me if he had to. But this is also apparently a pit bull PSA. Pit bulls are amazing, amazing loving animals. And if you have a chance to own one or adopt one, I highly suggest it, because as long as you're not a dick to them, they will be the most, I guess, protective. That's not really the word I'm going for, but they are the most companion-like animals that I've ever owned. I've had 2 in my life. I've owned my pit bull now. My dad owned a pit bull that was extremely loving and just wanted to lick you all day. And I've also had a German Shepherd, 2 Great Danes, and 2 mutts, just from like assorted family dogs. And none of the dogs were as affectionate or want to be around me as much as my dog does. And he is the quote-unquote the bad breed, which is fucked up. But anyway, so met Romeo at the pound. Was like, hey, he's super calm, he wants to be around me, I think I'm gonna adopt this dog. So this started this huge process of, well, he's not neutered yet, you have to wait until he gets neutered, the vet's coming the end of January, coming into January. So I think I decided I wanted him the beginning of January. Which one is this? What the fuck, what is this? Oh no. Anyway, so this started, I decided one probably the beginning of January, somewhere in there. And by the end of January, I knew I wanted them, put the paperwork through, paid for them and all that shit. And they were like, okay, we have to neuter him. You can have him as soon as he's neutered. So there was like a 2 or 3 week gap in there where he was quote unquote mine and adopted. I just had to wait for the vet to come and snip his balls off. And of course, this is one of the years where, I mean, I live in Pennsylvania, so we have snow sometimes. This was, of course, one of the years where we had a lot of snow. So every time the vet was supposed to come into the SPCA to do that round of pet fixing, there'd be snow, there'd be some bullshit excuse of why he couldn't come. This, of course, slowly broke my heart more and more, because at that point, like, Romeo was my dog, and I couldn't have him. Which sounds really, really childlike, but I would hope that anyone that's listening to me talk right now would understand the difference between me being childlike, being like, well, I want it, it's mine, I want it now, and me saying, like, I adopted this dog, I want to get him the fuck out of here, I can't have him yet because the doctor keeps calling out. I would hope everyone would take that as a different type of selfishness or child whining than I want a toy or some bullshit like that. But after the first time, I mean, I could still go and visit him in the pound, so I went twice a week because they have really fucked up hours. And every time I would go, he would recognize me now, and he'd get more and more excited. Like, the first time I got him, he wouldn't even bark, he just sat there and looked at me when I went to meet him. The second time, he got up and started wagging his tail when he saw me. The third time, he started barking a little bit and was jumping around, and like every time he recognized me more and more, and he'd get more and more excited when I come to hang out with him. So this, of course, as well, broke my heart more and more every time when I had to say goodbye to him, because it was a weird time in my life as it was, and it fucking killed me to keep saying goodbye to this dog, because again, I knew he was mine. Like, it was just waiting for the doctor to come to say, like, okay, he's ready now, you can have him. Just really, really rough. Is there a different way to do this? I hope so. I'm gonna get mad. So eventually I got to adopt him. And just test one more thing out here real quick, and I will finish the story. Okay, we're gonna keep skipping this one. So, eventually I got to adopt him, brought him home, and my original thought process with him was... Alright, okay. So original thought process with him was, he's been in a crate for a while, he was abandoned when he was found, I'm not gonna crate this poor dog. It doesn't seem right to me. No. He was no long enough, kind of deal. So I brought him home the first night. He was all fired up still, hyper excited to be here. And he decided to go sit and stare at one of the doors. Now, me not really thinking about it, never owning a dog before, nor thinking my brand new adopted dog was housebroken, I thought he was just being weird and staring at the door. Because he wasn't looking at the front door or the back door. Not that you might not know what they were at that point anyway. But he's staring at the door, and I was like, he's acting weird. I don't know what the fuck's going on. And then he pooped on the floor. So I was like, oh, okay. He is housebroken, just doesn't know what door to go look at to say, we need to go outside. So I decide, well, this is my first chance to not crate him. I'm going to put baby gates in my kitchen. Just let him roam around the kitchen until I get home. Oh shit, there's spikes. Ow, I hit myself in the ear too. I'm gonna scratch my back. So I run down the street to the grocery store, maybe a 10-minute drive to go get dog cleaning. What the fuck do I keep hitting stuff for? To go get dog cleaning stuff to clean up the poop stain left on the carpet. I come home and I can't push the front door open. And I'm like, well, this is not right. Like, what the fuck happened here? Come to find out that he decided to knock the baby gates over to come hang out with me and try to dig underneath the front door through the carpet to come get me. So that was when I first decided, hey, maybe for the house's own good and his own good, I should put him in a crate. Which still kills me to this day, but for his own sake, he needs to be in there. And that was the first day where I found out that my dog has separation anxiety. And when I have, say, he has separation anxiety, it's not like, oh, he barks when I leave, he gets upset. It is, he will try to dig/chew through anything to come get me. And by dig or chew through anything, I mean, right now, he is on his 4th crate. He's on 4 crates because his first one was a solid metal one for dogs way bigger than him. And he decided that he wanted to learn how to open the top of the crate. He literally learned how to push open the top of this metal crate and get out. He also learned how to bite the metal and pull the crate door inside to let himself out of the crate. And this is just because he wanted to come see me. So on these times, he would jump up into my windowsill and break TVs and plants and rip down curtains and all sorts of other shit. Most of the repairs I've done to my house in the 5 years I've been here have been from the dog breaking something, whether it's blinds or walls, holes, whatever. Like, he has destroyed a lot of shit in my house. And I just have to fix it because he's not going anywhere. Back in the beginning, I used to get really pissed off at him and debate taking it back to the pound because that was back when I wasn't making nearly as much money as I am now. And I was like, I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to have to spend a couple $1,000s on a new floor or money on new walls or shit like that because of the dog. I can't really handle this. And then I would think about it, and he was already pretty much my kid at that point. But there's a ton of people, either by fault, not by fault, whatever, where if they had a dog that would destroy everything immediately or all the time, they would either take him back to the pound again, which wouldn't be good for him already being from the pound, or eventually, if the pound got him too many times, I'm sure the pound would put him down, because I'm sure someone would make up some bullshit excuse of, oh, the dog snapped at me, the dog did this, blah, blah, blah. And my fear of someone legitimately hurting the dog, quote unquote my dog, I mean not quote unquote, like it's my dog, but the thought of someone hurting my dog because of shit he couldn't help was way too much for me to handle versus me just putting up with this bullshit. I think next episode will be about that. I have real bad anxiety issues too. I don't have separation anxiety. I just have anxiety. So I know what the dog is going through. I always knew what the dog was going through. And I would never fault him for something he can't help. So as we've lived here together, he has chewed his way through 4 crates. He has broken all sorts of shit in the house, but he is still here. And the past couple weeks, he's actually gotten a little worse with his anxiety. He's had like ebbs and flows with it since I've had him. But he got really bad recently where I've been coming home to, he's back in the metal crate again. And he's been chewing up the metal crate. He broke one of his teeth. He keeps cutting his face. Like, he's doing real damage to himself now. So now he is on Pepper Prozac, or adult doses of Prozac, and he's also on something else to keep him calm before the Prozac kicks in. But it's been a weird adventure the past couple weeks. Like, I think he's starting to mellow out a little from the pills. But he still seems a little hyper. I still come home to fluff from his blankets destroyed every day. And it's just weird, I guess. Like, with my anxiety stuff we'll talk about next time, I'll probably explain part of the dog stuff. But I actually, at this point in my life, I mean, I've had him for 5 years. His anxiety hasn't gotten any better. And I kind of feel bad about never actually getting him on a solid pill regimen. The last time I tried, it gave him focal seizures, where his whole body wouldn't shake, but just his head would. So I took him off the pills that used to be on a long time ago, because for his actual health, I was worried about him having a real problem. Like, I'm sure the seizures suck, but I don't want, or I'm sure the anxiety sucks, but I don't want him to have like brain damage from seizures or bullshit like that. But for his own quality of life, pit bulls, a medium-sized breed, probably say he has, I mean, I'm hoping he has a long-ass life, but I'll say minimum. I'll say he has 10 years, just to be on the safe side. And I probably should have done more for him the first half of his life, and I feel horrible about it. So I took him to the vet I think it was last week, to start going back on pills again. And I almost actually had like a little breakdown at the vet when she walked away. She was talking about when her and I were talking about the dog stuff, because I feel like a real piece of shit sometimes for not helping him sooner or trying to get him help sooner. But all I'm going to do now is hope that his second half of his life is happier than his first half. I mean, he's never not been a happy dog. He lays with me every day when I come home. We go for walks, we go to the dog park, like anything a person should do with their dog. He just had separation problems. And I always thought that because I deal with mine, he could just deal with his and it would just go away, or he would just at some point realize like, hey, Toby's coming back when I'm done. Like, Toby comes back every day. He goes to work, but he comes back every day. And it just never sank in with him. And between the fear of the pills and probably my own stubbornness of, I just tolerate the shit that goes on in my head, and I can eventually like figure out what all it was and just deal with it, I guess. I always figured the dog did too, and that's a real dickhead move on my part. But at this point, I'm just hoping that the pills work this time. He doesn't have any negative side effects from them, and he just has a nice calm life. So when I die here again, we're at about 19 minutes right now. Probably gonna die once or twice more, get pissed off, and then we will come back tomorrow for more of trying to wrap this game up a little bit. And then I will talk about my problems, because why the fuck not? I could just yell at the game the whole time, or I could tell fucking stories. We're going for fucking stories. Yep, I'm done for now. Alright guys, I will see you tomorrow, where I will bitch about myself. I will talk to you all soon. Love you all. Lates.